In the previous video, we recapped the 2489-1960 KVK. In this video, we are going to be looking at the rankings and the stats in the aftermath of the KVK to see how each kingdom and each player performed. Let us start off with the rankings. Alliance power is looking a little bit different because, as you can see, 60 AE is the top alliance in alliance power and probably alliance kill points because 60 AE is essentially the members of 60 GT in a different alliance to build up credits. That's the reason why we're in 60 AE. 60 GT is not dead, it's just we are reallocating so that we can get ready for this next KVK that we hopefully get into. We'll talk about that potential KVK at the end of the video. We have 1188 Lively. This alliance is actually 1188 and 1316 in one alliance, which is why they have so much power. 2489 at 14.3 billion power, definitely losing a lot of power. I've heard a couple people migrated out as well, although they will be getting a coin for their troubles this KVK, so a lot of people are staying as they continue to rebuild their KD, and I'm wishing them nothing but the best. Same thing with 1846 here at 13.1 billion power. We have 1262, the campmates of 1846 at 11.1 billion power, and that will be it for the main accounts. The rest of these are farm alliances or alliances where all of their mains are with the rest of their campmates, that being 1316 and 1188. Okay, let us go into alliance kills here. Alliance kills, you can see we're at 3.6 trillion as 60 GT or 60 AE in this case. A lot of kills. I think this is the most in the international server. I might be lying, but I'm pretty sure this is the most. 2489, pretty close though at 2.6 trillion themselves. 1188, this is 1188 and 1316 combined, but right now their alliance, their camp at least together has 2.2 trillion KP. 1846 at 1.7 trillion, and then 1262 at 369 billion KP, and that will be it for the main accounts there. Alrighty, let us go into individual power. This is not going to be a wacky list except for 60 AE being 60 GT members. It is pretty crazy that Makote was in the top and now he is nowhere to be seen. Oh, he's 7th. He's not in the top 6 though, but 7th place because of how much power that he has lost in this KVK. Of course, Boom 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 doing his thing at 677 million power. Prodigo at 530 million power. We could go ahead and scroll through a little bit here. You can see Addy, Makote, Glock. I'm going to say some notable names. J Tower. Matt Achilles is up here as well. Matt Achilles, by the way, welcome to 1960. Having it now a 1960 account. Shout out to him. We are going to be collabing and seeing him a lot more now that we're in the same KD. And you can see that in the top, I'm 550th place at 80 million power individually, so definitely not the most powerful player. We are actually trying to limit our power growth this off season so that we can get a good migration in 60 GTs. So that is why I'm not training up. That is why I have not been training. Let's see how many more 100 million power players there are. Let's scroll down. 100 million power. Okay, so we're down to the last person who is 100 million power. We still have 232 people that are 100 million power, so you know, there definitely could have been more fighting. There definitely could have been more deads, but yeah, there is still 232 people, which is kind of insane. And yeah, I'm like halfway up that list. I'm 550th place, so nowhere close to that. You can see individual kills here. Osno at first place, 88.6 billion kills individually. Arvix in second place at 76 billion kills. Ahmad Aziz in third at 74.1 billion, and then you could continue to scroll through, see some of the big killers here. Makote at 60 billion. Let us see how many people are actually at 20 billion kills, because I think it's going to be quite a bit. You can see I'm at 194 at 19 billion kills. I really wanted to get to 20 billion kills this KVK. Unfortunately, only able to get the 2 billion for the KVK. Overall, getting 19 billion kills on my counts. We have 180 people that have 20 billion kills on their accounts. Pretty impressive. These kingdoms, 2489, 1846, 1316, 1188, and of course 1960 being some of the top kingdoms in the game. You can see the quality in the players there. I think that is it for the rankings. So let us go ahead and go through a different ranking. Let us go through the Expedition Autarch leaderboard. So you could see that there are kill points, dead points, and heal points, and this is the points for the KVK. Leaderboards has stopped tracking points. They stopped tracking once the ziggurat has opened. So it's been quite a while, but that is actually approximately when the fighting stopped regardless. So you can see we are 179th place individually at 489 million points. I don't know how many points you get. You get 5 points for killing a T5, 1 point for killing a T4. Interesting. You can see Al-Haytham at 2.8 billion points. Billion points. That is absolutely insane. Genie at 2.6 billion. D-Ace at 2.4 billion. One Big at 2.4. Continue scrolling through. There are some heavy hitters. Haro used to be from 2268, a 2268 fellow kingdom mate, killing it in 1316 at 1.5 billion points for him this KVK. It could continue scrolling down. How many people has 1 billion points in this KVK? We have Tamago Egg over here at 43rd place, and that will cut it off for the 1 billion points, kill points in this KVK. All right, let us go through the dead points, and Makote with the clear lead at 184 million points. This is losing tier 5 troops in battle 5 points, losing tier 4 troop 1 point. I'm gonna guess from Makote, majority of these were tier 5s, and there are videos on YouTube about him solo filling a fort, solo filling a flag, and he is the Rock of 1846, and you know, definitely contributed in this KVK. You can see a lot of 1960 players here as well. Prodigo, Addy, Al-Haytham, Boom Boom Boom. Some big whales that consistently swarm throughout the whole KVK. Well, let us scroll down and see where the 50 million dead points ends, and it looks like it ends with D-Ace at 27th. Only 27 players at 50 million dead points, but I cannot judge them because I am at 232nd place at 11.6 million dead points. And again, this is me getting 2.2. Let's check how many deads I got. 2.3 million T5 deads, so not as much as some of these other players here. Again, 232nd place in dead points. All right, finally we could go to heal points, and you could see Al-Haytham, Genie, Anglio too, a lot of the same people. If you could compare and contrast the kill points to the heal points. And the funny thing about this is that you could kind of see how well they traded just based off of the points themselves. So definitely Al-Haytham and Genie trading one for a bit here, having to heal a lot of troops to make sure that they continue getting the KP. Let us see if we could go down to how many people have 1 billion heal points. We have 29 people at 1 billion heal points. For myself individually, I'm 264th place at 376 million heal points. Not too crazy. We'll be going over my individual stats in a different video. You could see a little bit of a sneak peek though with my resources spent and my units killed. We'll go ahead and post that video sometime this week as well. Alrighty, now we are in ProKingdoms. This is a website that tracked the stats of our previous KVK 2489 versus 1960. I'll go ahead and post this link just in case you guys want to see it yourselves in the description. But you could see the KP gain here in particular. Al-Haytham, of course, being in first place, 11.4 billion kill points. Before we were looking at Autarch points, you could translate that now into the KP. That is absolutely insane. 11.4 billion KP gained in a single KVK. Absolutely killing it. Genie pretty close there at 10.5 billion. The Ace at 10 billion. One Big at 9.7 billion. These are crazy stats here that are pulled just from a single KVK. Again, this KVK I didn't really perform exactly how I wanted to. I was able to get 2 billion KP essentially, but I really wanted to get to that 3 billion mark. You could see that there were about 84 players ending at Ahmad Aziz that were able to gain 3 billion KP. So not feeling that bad because the players up here were absolutely beasts that gained this much KP. And at 100th place, they gained 2.6 billion KP. If I go ahead and search myself individually, I am pretty close to where I was in the Autarch list. I'm 181st place in this list, so pretty close. Apparently I didn't even gain 2 billion. I gained 1,994,800,992. As for the 1960 DKP list, you could see some of the top DKPs here. I'll height them being up there. D-Ace, Prodigo. Let's go ahead and search up where I am. I'll go ahead and scroll through. You can see Glock. I don't believe I'm in this first page, so that means I'm not a top 50 60 GT player. But if we go ahead and go to page 2, you can see Redline is 66th, and I am pretty close behind him at 68th place in terms of DKP. You can see that it tracks the amount of T5 kills I got, T4 kills, the amount of KP, and the amount of deads in each of these zones. So this is Kingsland, this is I believe Pass 7 and perhaps Altars, and then this is Zone 5. 68th place, a pretty decent starting point. Hopefully that means I could stay in 60 GT, and hopefully I could make it to the top 50 in our next KVK. Alright, so this is going to be the final list. This is going to be the Kingdom stats. Again, this is the 1960 scan, so perhaps there might be some different numbers coming from different sources, but I'm going to go ahead and show these scans. You can see that Kingdom 1960 having 349 billion kill points gained this KVK. 349 billion kill points. An absolutely astronomical amount of kill points gained this KVK. In some kingdoms, that's the amount of KP that they have as an alliance. So shout out to the boys getting some good KP, even though it's sometimes hard to get, but it was good KP nonetheless. You could see that 1316, our allies getting 98 billion kill points themselves. You could round that up to 99 billion kill points. And Kingdom 1188, our other allies, at 115 billion kill points. Those two kingdoms, honestly, being very, very close in terms of the amount of kill points that they've gained. Next, we could go ahead and look at our opponents. 1846, definitely doing some heavy lifting in their camp. 172 billion kill points gained from them, compared to 1262, their campmates, that gained 21 billion kill points. So definitely 1846 being the Imperium, lifting a heavy burden in this KVK, and 1262, definitely struggled in terms of gaining kill points. Finally, we have our direct opponents in 2489 that gained 301 billion kill points themselves. So in all honesty, 1960, 2489, we barely traded positive against 2489 in terms of the sheer amount of kill points gained. They were definitely a very, very tough opponent, especially with how hard kill points were to get later on into the zones and into the KVKs. All right, let us look at the dead difference. Kingdom 1960 at 585 million deads to this KVK. Kingdom 1316 at 219 million deads, and 1188 at 457 million deads. In all honesty, that camp actually getting more deads than us, and I think that definitely has to do with their Zone 5 fight having a lot of deads. There's a lot of swarms, a lot of fort swarms. Versus 1960, 2489, it was a lot of open field fighting. If we go ahead and look at our opponents, Kingdom 1846 at 466 million deads. Pretty close and comparable to 1188 in terms of the deads that they gained this KVK. And 1262 at 148 million deads themselves. Finally, our direct opponents, 2489, taking the cake, taking the crown in terms of the amount of deads taken this KVK at 645 million deads. That is about 120 million more deads than 1960. Finally, we could go ahead and look at our units healed. 1960 at 15.3 billion units healed. Our allies in 1316 at 3.5 billion units healed. Our other allies in 1188 at 5.4 billion units healed. Our opponents in 1846 at 9.5 billion units healed. Our other opponents in 1262 at 1.5 billion units healed. And finally, our direct opponents, 2489 at 16.5 billion units. Overall, this KVK with 1960 fighting against 2489 was a great first KVK to play in, and is hopefully a warm-up for greater KVKs to come. There's been a lot of talk about 1960 versus 2377. We'll have to see if that KVK comes to fruition, but if it does, we'll definitely be streaming it on this channel. And honestly, I don't know who would win that matchup. I think it would come down to allies, come down to map positionings. So be sure to subscribe to the channel just in case that KVK happens, and for anything Ploto Gaming or 1960 Rise of Kingdoms related will be posted on the channel as well. People wanted to know how my marches did, so I'll also be posting a video about that later this week, and I'll catch you guys there. Peace.